Hello, everybody! Or should I say, hello, wee. So I am Chef Michael today, and we're going to be doing a fun little activity to help prepare for Easter Sunday. That is only just a week away. It is coming up so quick. And so, as I'm talking, we might be able to include some French music within this background if it's in our budget. I don't know. We'll figure that out eventually. But nevertheless, right? So I have a fun little baking activity that we are going to be doing. And so it is called the Empty Tomb. And so we're going to make a fun little tomb that a marshmallow goes in the middle, but disappears. But more on that later. So, as we begin on this, one of the things that we need to do before we cook anything is we need to make sure that we have all the ingredients necessary in order to cook what we are going to cook. So, here are some of the ingredients that you are going to need, and just so you know as well, the website that we got this from, we're going to include that in the link below. That way you can make sure that all the ingredients are included within that as well. So, the first thing that you are going to be needing is this little muffin tray right here. We're going to need some cutting boards, and we're going to need a bowl that could go in the microwave, right? So you don't want a plastic one, you kind of want to make sure you got a glass one right there. You're going to need your knife, which make sure that you have your parents help you out with that part of the baking activity. And now, moving on to the food activity part of this now. So, the following ingredients that you're going to be needing as well is cinnamon sugar. You're going to be needing some marshmallows. You're going to be needing some butter. You're going to be needing some Pam or whatever type of oil so you can spray onto your muffin tin. And last but not least, some Crescent rolls on here. So, let's begin. One of the first things that we need to do that always takes the longest as well is we need to make sure that we turn our oven on. And so for this activity, you're going to be needing to turn the oven on to 375. So 375 degrees. So we'll get that warmed up because it does take a little bit of time for that. So the next part, what we're going to do is we are going to grab our knife and our butter, and we're going to cut it. And so we're going to use 3/4 of our butter stick right here, right? And so it has the little measurements all right here. So let's get that cut. So you're going to look for the 6 out of 8. I'm just going to cut it nice and slow. That way it's even right across the board. And this little extra butter right here, we'll put it off to the side. That way we can use it for a future thing. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to unwrap our butter right here, and we're going to put it in our glass bowl. And the next part we're going to do is we're going to put this in the microwave. And so we need to make sure that our butter is nice and melted for this part right here. And so, as I will be talking here in a second, is all the ingredients that we have today are going to be related to our story. 1 minute. While that is cooking, so our 4 main ingredients that are food related all are relevant to our story. The story of Jesus conquering death. And so we have our dough right here. This is going to represent our linens that Jesus was wrapped in. Our cinnamon sugar right here. This is going to represent our spices that was with Jesus. And our butter that has 30 seconds left right here is going to represent the oil that Jesus was wrapped in as well. And our marshmallows right here, this is going to represent Jesus. And so throughout this cooking activity, we're going to be talking about how this is related to the resurrection story. Okay? And so, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Our butter is nice and melted. But we want to make sure that we don't put too much time in the microwave because butter can be burnt if you leave it in there for too long. Alright, so our next part that we are going to be doing is we're going to open up our crescent rolls. And so you just got to find that little label that says open here. And once you do that, then it will pop open for you, which is kind of fun to do. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it, we'll see. No, not this time. So what you got to do is just push it down, just like that. Open the tube. And so this comes in 8, so there's 8 rolls in here, right? So we're going to have 8 tombs. And so now I just got to find where my beginning is on here. Ooh. Oh, there it is. All right, we got it. See, I know what I'm doing. All right. So we're gonna unroll this. All right. Take it out. Then you're gonna undo all of these right here. So we're gonna flatten it out, right? Just kind of like the bed sheet, because it's related to the linens. We are going to roll it out, make sure there's like that we're getting the most out of everything, right? And so you think of your linens, you kind of think of like your bed sheets within this way, right? So cloth that you're wrapping it around in. So we'll get it so it's nice and wrapped out just like that. And we'll just kind of do this for all of them right now. And one of the one of the things you do before you start cooking as well, you need to always make sure to wash your hands. And so I did that before we started filming on here, right? Because, we don't want any germs in that to affect our cooking. We don't want to make sure people don't get sick from that either. So it's always good to wash your hands. Because yeah, you can see I'm using my hand right here to flatten everything out. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we got our linens prepared. And so one of the next things that we need to do as well is we need to make sure to spray our pan right here. So make sure to shake this up and get it in there nice and good. Because that way when we take out the rolls, it's not going to stick to our side of the pans or at the bottom of it, and we get it out nice and easy. And it looks like our oven just finished. Alright. Okay, so one of the next things that we need to do as well, and the next part of the story is we need to make sure that we prepare our little cutting board right here with some cinnamon sugar. And so like the more cinnamon sugar there is, it's just gonna taste so good. And so occasionally when we roll this on here, we're gonna probably have to replenish it every so often as well. Okay, so next, what we need to do is grab our marshmallow, or like our Jesus, right? And so look at the marshmallow, and it's nice and white, right? And so, the white represents, sinless and perfect. And that's who Jesus was when he was alive here on earth. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our marshmallow and dip it in this ooey gooey butter. Which I was told that's what the pioneer woman in Pahuska says, and that's what my mom tells me all the time as well. So, get our butter right here, because the way that a body is prepared is back in the Bible times, is you had to make sure to prepare the body, wrap it with the oil and the spices, right? And so one of the things that we know within the story is that Mary Magdalene, and also Joseph, right? They helped prepare Jesus' body to be placed into the tomb. And so one of the things that you have to do is, right, you're going to prepare the body, anoint it with oil and spices. So next, let's put some cinnamon on here. And so Jesus is now covered with oil and spices. So make sure you get it nice and really cinnamon sugary right there. And so one of the next things that they did was to prepare the body is they had to wrap it while Jesus was covered in the oils and the spices. Now they wrapped Jesus up into the linen. And that's what we're going to do with our rolls right here. We're going to wrap it up just like that. So we'll wrap it up so it looks just like this. And then we need to make sure to pinch our ends right here. Because we think about this, the dough right here is like, now that it's nice and wrapped up, it's kind of like our new tomb right here. And so we know that we want to make sure the marshmallow doesn't escape the tomb, just like Jesus did not, no one took Jesus' body from the tomb. So now that it's wrapped up, we're going to put it back in the butter again. Just so we do this, not because it's related to the story, but so it doesn't stick to the pan even more. So we wrap it in there, and then we put it in one of the holders that we sprayed the pan in, right? And so that is how you are going to be doing this. So I'm going to be doing this now for the remaining 7 of these. And so now we'll continue to do what we did in the first step, right? So you just repeat it all the way through. Alright, now that we got all of our rolls wrapped up and ready to go, make sure that we clean our hands off from all the butter and the cinnamon and the dough, like, you know, feeling that you get on that, right? And then, next thing what we're going to do is, let's grab our rolls, or our tombs per se, and we're going to put it in the oven, which this is why we preheated it early to 375. We'll put them in there in the top rack. And then let's add 13 minutes on here. Alright, so while those are in the oven, I do have a Bible verse to go along with this. And so our verse is coming from Matthew 12:40 to talk about this, right? And so this was before Jesus went through everything, through the trial and being on the cross. This is Jesus when he was predicting his death. And so Matthew 12:40 states, "For just as Jonah was there for 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." And so when Jesus was saying this, he was talking about how he was going to be within the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights. And so now we just wait 13 minutes and then we will have our rolls ready to go. Alright. Alright, looks like we got 8 seconds left on our rolls. And I left the light on so I was able to see it kind of grow up a little bit. And that is 0. So make sure that we turn that off. Otherwise, it's going to be very annoying beeping the whole time. So, next step is you need to make sure you have some pot holders right here. And we'll pull this out. And we'll grab them. Alright, turn those off. And look at those. Those turned out amazing. So, what we have to do now is, because these things are super hot, if you try to bite into it, it's going to be like biting lava. Just like those pizza rolls that you make in the oven as well. So, what we have to do now is we got to let these cool for about 5 minutes. So, we're going to take a little pause on here, and once we come back, we'll look at the rolls and see if the marshmallow is there or if it disappeared. And voila! We are back, and look at these beautiful, beautiful tombs / rolls now. So what we're going to do is, I got my fork right here, and I'm going to kind of dig in here. And let's see if I put enough pan spray in here. Oh, and look at that, it comes out so perfectly. That's why we do that, because we don't want anything to stick around on there. Alright, and so the whole reason why we are doing this video, let's see if Jesus the marshmallow is in or not. Nope, it is gone. And so, just like how Jesus disappeared from the tomb on Easter Sunday, because he did that, so he conquered death for me and for you. Let's see. That is good. Before we close this video out, I got one more verse for us to remember. I want to think about this. And so, this verse is from Romans 10, verse 9. And so, because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, you too shall be saved. And so, Easter is one of my favorite times of the year because Easter, Jesus conquering death and the devil, is how we gain salvation, that we can join him up in heaven. And so, thank you all for joining me for this lovely video, and I hope to see all of you on Easter Sunday at both of our services at 8:15 and 10:45, and we have the breakfast in between those as well. So, I will see you all very soon. You all have a good rest of your day. Bye!